take a look at the Ford Big Board. Built for America, built Ford proud. In today's ESPN article detailing Belichick's failed job hunt, Bill reportedly told confidants which teams he would be interested in coaching: Dallas, Philly, and the New York Giants. Belichick once swore he would not coach into his 70s. He will be 73 when the 2025 season kicks off. So here is another quote from the big article. He has told confidants he thinks he'll get at least one interview next year. Dallas could be an option if Jerry Jones moves on from Mike McCarthy, a lame duck in the final year of his contract. Belichick has a strong relationship with both Jerry and Stephen Jones dating back years. On the other hand, Jerry Jones has been close with a lot of excellent head coaches whom he has never hired. Belichick has told confidants that he hopes if a team in the Northeast has an opening, it will consider him. End quote. All right, we deep dive. Welcome in Tom Giles. We also welcome you into the conversation. Which is the most likely future landing spot for Bill Belichick? Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, Bills, or none? Nowhere. Join the conversation. You can vote in the polls. As usual, you go to the website there, or you can scan the QR code, cast your vote. 53% of you right now say the Cowboys. That is what I voted for, Tom Giles, because I think if Bill Belichick is going to go somewhere, he's going to go to a place that feels ready-made, on the verge of winning a Super Bowl. If they can't get there this year, he goes in, he gets Jerry his title. Maybe he's there 2 years. He gets his wins total. He goes away, and then Jerry hands the team over to Steven, and then they start all over anyway.
I like the Cowboys too, because I think that Jerry Jones would see this article today and just be like, yeah, whatever. I don't care about this noise. Whereas, I don't know, Jeffrey Lurie reads this and it's like, you're putting a lot out there, especially if you're bringing back Nick Sirianni, who, has gone on a pretty good run over the last couple of years. The New York Giants, they kind of feel rudderless. They have at this point. It feels like the Cowboys and Jerry Jones would have enough confidence to say, I don't care what the rest of the noise is. We've got a coach right now in Mike McCarthy who's, lame duck year. That feels like the most logical one to me.
Yeah, I think it could be as soon as the regular season. Like, I'm not even sure it waits a year. I actually think that makes sense for the Cowboys and Bill Belichick because...
So like mid-season, they fire McCarthy and they bring him in.
Mid-October, they're scuffling a little bit, and Jerry Jones is reactionary. He's not getting any younger, and there's star power and all that. And I actually think it might be good for Bill because none of this noise matters then either. It's pack your suitcase on Nantucket, get here, and in a week, 10 days, 13 days, go out, take our talent, figure out a scheme. Everybody tells me you can still coach. That's the one thing you can still do is draw up a game plan, coach up players. So I think it could be the Cowboys as soon as the regular season.
Yeah, that plan is not about building a roster. It's not necessarily even about setting a culture, even though he might try to shift that, alter that thing as soon as he walks in the door. That's just about, okay, who are the Jimmys and the Joes, and how do I make this work on a week-to-week basis? And that might be his best bet at finding success. I'm with Giles. I don't see the Giants. I don't think they're talented enough. Philly, to me, is still too analytically driven. I know he gets along with Howie Roseman, and I just don't know if their football philosophies will really align. In Dallas, I don't think it'll matter. I think Jerry Jones just wants to win, and if he feels Bill Belichick can do that for his team, he'd be all for it.
All right, but let's just say, for argument's sake, that Mike McCarthy doesn't stumble this year, and there isn't an opening, or at least not right away. And maybe Jerry Jones, when Mike McCarthy is done, if he finishes out the season, or they win a Super Bowl and they re-sign him, whatever the case may be, there's not a smooth transition point. Does Bill Belichick ever coach in the NFL again?
I think it's pretty low odds, quite frankly, right now, for a lot of the reasons we mentioned off the top of the show. There aren't a lot of places that are going to be interested in a guy who's only going to be coaching for a couple of years. And there aren't a lot of places with ready-made rosters, ready to compete right now, that are also looking for new head coaches. Generally speaking, those teams are pretty good, and those head coaches get to hold on to their jobs. So if that job doesn't pop up, if one of those other two that we just mentioned don't pop up, then I'm thinking we've seen the last of Bill Belichick as a head coach.
Yeah, ESPN wrote, he's going to rehab his image and look to the next hiring cycle. I think if he gets to the next hiring cycle, it might be too late. I really do think in season. And there might be some other teams you could throw in season. I don't know if the Bills would be in that category. I know the Jets are weird because they're the Jets, but they would seem to be a team that could be made for Aaron Rodgers, Super Bowl talent. It's not working. Get rid of Saleh. But no, I think because what I talked about earlier, you have now a 73-year-old coach next spring who is now the oldest coach in the history of the National Football League, I believe, if you hire him on a short window to get it. It just doesn't make any logical sense. After we had this offseason where, was there a coach hired who was older than like 50? Like they're all 40-somethings, 30-somethings. Yeah. It's a young man's game on the field. We have it here in New England. And he has this perception that he doesn't fit with the collaborative, why-based, love-filled culture of football teams now.
Giles, real quickly, what did you make of the article?
I didn't think it necessarily helped Bill probably in his candidacy for next year. Another thing that kind of stood out to me was if the Falcons knew they weren't going to hire him, why'd they bring him back for a second interview? Like, this is a guy that's been in the league for as long as he has. And does that really help him moving forward to bring him back for a second interview? So I didn't love that. But ultimately.
Feels like a courtesy that wasn't all that courteous.
Yeah, it didn't feel like it was. Like, you know, at the beginning of this entire thing, I was kind of under the impression that it's Bill Belichick. Does he really need to interview for these jobs? Don't you know what you're getting at this point? It's like you don't really need to ask him, how are you going to coach it? How are you going to do it? And finally, just, you know, when you look at the whole thing and the whole offseason, man, Tom Brady, you know, what really feels like the centerpiece here in winning all these championships, and he continues to look better and better as this thing goes on.